Hello friends, welcome to Dear Dev. We are looking into fun things that we can do with JavaScript, and today we want to predict the future using a magic 8 ball. Let's dive in. So we have a magic 8 ball that says move your cursor over the ball and ask your question. So we want to ask, will I get ice cream today? We want to know what's going to happen. We want it to predict the future. We have HTML tags and we have our styles just to make it fun. We have a variable, a constant variable called answers. That is, we are creating answers that we expect our magic 8 ball to give to us. So we are expecting it to give us either a yes, no, maybe, try again, definitely, or not today. Those are the options that we want our magic 8 ball to give to us. And we are storing the option in an array. The square bracket is what makes us know that it's an array. And the array is stored in a variable, a constant variable called answers. So every time we want to find out where the array is, we just call on answers. Answer picks up the array and tells us the content. We have our answers, but we want to move our cursor over the ball. So it means that we need to get the ball. That means we need to define another variable, a constant variable. We are using our query selector to get any element that first shows up with a particular identifier. So what's the identifier of our 8 ball? A class of ball. So that's why we're using dots, because the class ball. Now that we have our ball, we want to add an event listener. Listen for an event. The event we want to listen for here is not a click. We are listening for the hovering of our mouse. So if the mouse moves over the ball, then we expect the ball to give us a response. So we would say 8 ball dot add event listener mouse over. And an event listener receives a callback function. So the function we'll call is get response. When we're using a function as callback, we don't need to call it because it's a callback function is called by default. So let's define our get response. The get response function, we say const because it's constant. It's a constant variable, the function. Get response. That's our function. It's an empty function, but that's our function. We want it to do some things. Give us a response. The response is supposed to be shown in an element. So let's look for the element that shows our response. The element is a div with a class of answer. So let's define that answer element. Const answer. The first element that has this identifier called answer. We get one of the answer from the answers array, put it in the answer element, and then we are good. So that we don't get confused, let me call it answer element. So we have an answer element that gets one of the answers we have chosen. Now, how do we get the answer that we show? We are predicting a future, so it's not something that is planned. So for us to make it random, then we are going to be using the JavaScript random. We are getting the random. As soon as we call the function, we want to get a random number. So we say const random number. Random gives us a random number. It gives us a random number between 0 and 1. If we want to get the first element in an array, because arrays are 0 indexed, it means that to get the first element, we should be using 0. So we'll say answers square bracket 0. When we want to get the fifth answer, we say answers 4 to get the fifth answer. And then, because we want to make it a random number, we are going to multiply maps of random from JavaScript by the length of the array. If we do a console.log of a random number, we should see random numbers happening. So if we move the cursor, it says console is not a function. No, we are supposed to say console.log. So when we move, we get 1. As I said, It's a decimal between 0 and 1, and we are multiplying it by the length of the array, so it's also going to give us a decimal. What we want to do, because we want to use indexes, and indexes are whole numbers, it means that we have to get the floor. That's what JavaScript uses, match the floor. So if we run it, we get 0. When we run it again, we get 1. When we run it again, we get 0. When we run it again, we get 0. When we run it again, we get 1. Wow, why is that 2? Okay, 5. It was almost not looking random. So we have a random number. To get the random index, we will do a math.floor. We are rounding down the random number. So that gives us a random index to use to get our number. JavaScript uses camel case. So it means that when you want to join two words together, the second word starts with a capital letter. And if it's 3 words, the second and third word, every consecutive word starts with a capital letter. So random answer. We are going to use the random index to get a random answer from the answers array. We want the answer element to display that. So answer element dot text content. So it's safer to use text content to display text. And so when we hover on our 8 ball, we should get a random answer. Let's see. That does not work. Why is that? Our answer has a display of none. The only time you should get an answer from your 8 ball should be after you shook it, right? So we would now give it a display of block. So we get the answer element, its style property, the display property of the style, and make it block. So when we hover, we get our no. Okay, now this does not look so much fun, and it was looking too fast. Why did it just show up and just say, oh no, that's too fast? We want it to take some time. So before it gives us our answer, we want it to take some time. So we will do a set timeout. Say at least a second, at least. That's not too much to ask. So the set timeout takes a function and how much time? In milliseconds. So we want it to wait 1,000 milliseconds, that's a second, and then do what it wants to do. So what do we want to do in our function? We want it to wait for 1 second before giving us the answer and making the display block. So let's see. It took a second before doing that. And then we're able to predict. But this also still looks boring. So with the power of CSS combining with the power of JavaScript, we are going to make it a little funny or funky. We have a class that's been defined. So we'll say, before we start calculating and doing some random things, we want to add the animation to our ball. So we'll say answer element. We want to answer element.classList.add. We want to add to the class. We already defined the class, but I need to go and look for the class that is supposed to do the animation. So let's go. Okay, our animated class is shake. So let's go and add shake. So we are adding shake to our element. So as soon as we hover, we want to have a shake and then our answer. So let's go. Over. Uh-oh, it does not shake. Oh no. We are not adding shake to the answer, we are adding shake to the 8 ball. We want the 8 ball to shake, so we add the animation called shake to the 8 ball. So when we come and we hover, we get yes. When we come and we mouse over again, it gives us try again, but it's not shaking. That is because the shake already happened, so it's not repeating itself. What we are going to do is say, as soon as you are done shaking and giving an answer, remove the animation and don't do anything again until we come over you the next time. So after adding the animation and giving that answer, when the time is over, we want it to remove the shaky animation. So we say 8ball dot class list dot remove. We have an element, the 8ball, and it has a series of class or no class at all. We now want to add the shake class to the existing class, if any. That's why we're using class list. So the class list gathers all the classes, whether they exist or not, and adds shake to the existing class, whether they exist or not. So it picks all the classes and adds shake to it. So if there was no class in the first place, when it adds shake, the only class the element will have will be shake. But if it had other classes before then, it will add shake to the existing classes. So now when we are using class list dot remove, it will only remove shake from the class, all the classes that the element has. So if the element didn't have any class other than shake, then when we remove shake, all that will be left will be nothing. So we are just trying to be safe to just remove what we want to remove instead of deleting the entire thing, because if we delete all the classes of the element, some things might break. So let's just remove the part that concerns us, which is the animation, and that's called shake. It shakes, it gives us an answer, but the answer is still standing there. So we are saying that as soon as we click on you, remove the existing answer, then you shake, and then you give me a new answer. So we would say, let's hide the answer element as we did before. After hiding it, we shake it, then it gives us a new answer and display it in 1 second. So let's go, hover, and we get an answer. Hover, and we get an answer. So now to the prediction. Will I be getting ice cream for dinner this evening? Maybe. Okay, will it be raining tonight? Let's see. It says yes. Well, I'll be indoors, so I don't think I should be worried when it rains tonight. I hope you enjoyed this. JavaScript is fun, and this just brings about randomness. We are trying to show how we can use JavaScript to do some form of randomness. Imagine you have a playlist for users and you want them to be able to shuffle their playlist, as in Spotify and other music players. You just ask them to click a button, and on click of the button generates a random index that you can use to access the playlist of your user. That's one of the uses of the randomness. You do an on click, you listen for the events, and if you don't want to do on click, you can listen for on drag. You can listen for a mouse over or a keyboard press to randomize the music that you want to show your user. I'm also looking at a scenario where, as you have an e-commerce page and you want to show users random pictures of recent products, you can also use that. That was possibly going to be an unload event. So as soon as the page loads, out of the array of new or recent products, it shows the user a random product that the user can click on and buy, just to make them aware of new products that exist. There are a lot of fun things that we can do with JavaScript. I hope you had a good time trying to predict the future. You can go ahead and do some more prediction for yourself and let's see how it works. Please drop in the comment section below other fun things that you have done with JavaScript, and let me know if you try to build your own magic 8ball. Build it and predict the future. Let's see if it works. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to see more of these kind of videos. See you some other time. Bye-bye.